Am I audible, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the last class, we stopped at the processor memory organization, and we have explained there by considering this block diagram, this figure about the program files and the various data files. Okay, that was for the SLC 500 controller. We started with this in our previous class. Then we have seen those different data files. So these are the different program files. Okay, it includes all your status file, timer file, counter files, and files for network communications. Okay. Next one is the IO address format for the SLC family of PLCs. So for this SLC family of PLCs, SLC 500 PLCs, what is the format in which the input output data is stored? Okay, what is the format in which the input output data is stored? In which format the address or the location of the input status is stored? How the input status is stored, or how the status of the output device is stored? What is the format of storing the status in the memory location? Is like this. I stands for input here. I stands for input. Then this is the separator. This is colon symbol is called as a separator. Then 1 means it is a slot number. It is always stored in this format. 1 means it is slot number. Then bar 2 or slash 2. Okay, so this slash is called as bit designator, and the number 2 is called as the bit number. Here this 2 indicates the bit number, that is the bit number in which the status of the input device is stored is 2, or the status of the input device is stored in slot number 1 and bit number 2. Similarly, for the output device, O stands for the output, colon is the separator, then 2 is the slot number in which the status of the output device is stored, slash 11, that is bit number 11. That means the status of the output device, whether it is on or off, that status is stored in slot number 2 and bit number 11. Slot number 2 and bit number 11. Okay, this is how the IO address format is for the SLC family of the PLCs. Okay, the program files, as we all know, that they are in the form of the ladder rung instructions here, as we are considering the ladder program for our subject here. So they are usually stored in the form of the ladder rung instructions, and these ladder programs are stored in the file number 2, and the loops or the functions or the subroutines, they are stored in the file numbers from 3 to 999. Okay, the programs are stored in file number 2, whereas the subroutines or the functions or the loops, they are stored starting from file number 3 to 999. In the Allen Bradley PLC5 controller, this is how the memory organization is for the data files. The memory organization, how the memory is organized for the Allen Bradley PLC5 PLCs. In the Allen Bradley PLC5 PLCs, each data file consists of what are called as elements. Each data file consists of what are called as elements. These elements may be 1 word in length, or 2 word in length, or 3 word in length. Right? Usually how the data is stored? The data is stored in the form of bits or bytes or word. Till now we have seen this, is it not? But here in Allen Bradley PLC5 PLCs, the data is stored in the form of elements. Okay, the data file is consisting of the elements, and these elements are made up of, these are nothing but the data elements. They are consisting of 1 word in length, or they are 2 words in length, or they are 3 word in length. Okay, the timers and the counters, counters, they are all 3 word in length. That means 1 word usually consists of 16 bits, byte is 8 bit. Timers and counters, they are made up of 3 word in length, 3 word, that means 16 into 3, 48 bits according to our convention. Whereas The floating point numbers. Floating point number means the real values. Real values. For example, say 2.7 is a real value, whereas 2, the number 2 is an integer. It's a whole number. Okay. If I write it as 2.7, it's a decimal value or a real value. That is called as the floating point value, the real values or the decimal values. Okay. So these floating point values, they take two word length element to for them to be stored. For the floating point numbers, they take two word length memory for them to be stored, whereas the all the other operations, they just take one word length element or the memory location for them to be stored. A word consists of 16 bits or binary digits. The processor, it operates on two types of numbers. That's what I told. The one type of number is the whole number or the integer, and the second type of number on which the processor or the controller operates is on the real numbers or the floating point numbers or the values. Clear here? That is, the processor operates on different types of data or the two different types of numbers. One is they operate on integer values, and they also operate on the floating point or the real or decimal values. Clear here? PLC5 and SLC500 PLCs, they store the data in the form of a data tables or what are called global data tables. Right? The PLC5 and SLC500 PLCs are storing the data in the form of a data table. This we have seen earlier, is it not? Image table, how the status of the input device is stored in the memory location in the form of a image table. Input image table for input device and output image table for the output device. Right? We can access this data by specifying the address. Of course, if we know the memory location of the data in which the data which are stored in the data table or the image table, then we'll be able to read or write that information. The typical addressing format for the PLC500 controller are as follows. This is the addressing format for PLC5 controller. Previously what we saw was for SLC500 controller. This is for the PLC5 controller IO addressing format. The addresses in the output data file and input data file are locations. Actually, what are the addresses for the data files? The addresses are the memory locations where the status of the either the input device or the status of either the output device are stored. Such memory locations we call them as addresses or the input output addresses. This is how the format is for the PLC5 controller. The address is O:012 bar 15. O:012 bar 15. What this indicates? O indicates that it is output image table. Out of the output, it is for the output device. Status for the output device. Then file, output image table file, rack 1. 01 indicates rack number 1. And 2 indicates group. In rack number, which group? Suppose you are keeping the books in the shelf. You place in one group, you make one group, one set. Then side by you take one other group, you make another set. And the third group, you make one more set like this. Correct? So 1, 2, 3. 3 groups. Like that, this is rack number 1, group number 2, bit number 15/15. This 15 indicates the bit number. Which bit number it is for storing the status of the output device. Status file contains a status information. It may be the status of the input device or the processor status or the status of the output device. The address S:015 addresses word 15 of status file. S:015 means it is the word number 15 of the status file. These are the various formats in which the bit status of the input and output devices for which PLC, for PLC5 controller are there. Okay. The address s colon 027 comma the address 0 s colon 027 slash 09. This means it is bit 9 in word 27 of the status file. Address s colon 027 slash 09. What does it indicate? This format, that is s colon 027 slash 09, it indicates that it is bit number 9 of the status file 27. File number 27, bit number 9. This is how they are represented, the format. The bit data file stores bit status, that is, it serves for storage when using outputs. The data file, whatever is there, it indicates the status of the input device, the output device, or various instructions such as the shift instructions, right, shifting from left to right, right to left, okay, or the sequencing instructions, right, and it may be the status of the timer instructions, counter instructions, logical instructions, right. All these instructions, or it may be input and output device status, all these statuses are stored in the data files. Timer file stores the timer status and the timer data, is it not? The timer file, if it is a timer which is used to maintain the timing, okay, the timer maintains the timing, how much time it takes to cap the bottles, okay, that example we have quoted in our previous classes, correct? So that timing is maintained by what is called as the timer, which is present in the PLCs, or with the help of the timer instructions we will be able to maintain the timings. The timer file, it stores timer status and timer data. What is the status of the timer, whether it is on or off, status. Then timer data, how much time we want to control or what time we want to stop the process. The timer data, that is, there are two types here, timer status and the timer data. A timer element consists of three words. There are three words in the timer element, in the timer function or timer instruction. One is control word, preset word, and the accumulated word. Control word is the data that is stored for controlling the operation of the timer. Using the timer, you are controlling the various operations. That is the control word. Then preset word, what value you are initially storing in the timer for beginning the process, right? For example, when you write a program in C language, you initialize certain variables. Say int I is equal to 10, int a is equal to 5. You are initializing, correct? Similarly, here also for initializing the timer, what is called as a preset word. It is a preset word. We are storing the values, the starting value in this preset word. Okay. Then the accumulated word. Accumulated word means once a timer functions starts to function at the end of the timer, after the time elapses, whatever is the value stored in the timer, that is called as the accumulated word. Okay, there are three words. One is control word for controlling the operation, preset word, what value we are setting for initialization, accumulated word, once the timer functions and the time elapses, what is the final value that is stored in the timer, that is called as the accumulated word or the accumulated data. Okay, the addressing of the timer control word is the assigned timer number. The addressing of the timer control word is assigned timer number. So we are using the timer number here, which timer it is, which is in which file. Okay, all that formats, those formats we are using. Timers in file 4 are numbered starting with T4:0. If it is the timer we are using in file number 4, then it is format is T4:0, right? So T4:0, it indicates the timers in file number 4. Then T4:999, it indicates the timer 1000, because what is the timer it is starting here? 0. 999 means it is 1000th timer. It is a 1000th timer, not 999 timer. It is the 1000th timer, which is belonging to file number 4. Okay, which belongs to file number 4, like that. The addresses for the three timer words in timer 4:0 are, in the timer 4:0, in this first timer of the file number 4, the different types of addresses are as follows. The enable bit address, This T4:0/en. This is the enable bit to enable or to activate the timer. To turn on the timer, we are using this bit. Okay, if we want to turn on the timer, then this bit T4:0/en should be set to 1. It should be starting the value starting that is stored in T4:0/en is equal to 1 if we want to start the timer, turn on the timer. Next, the timer timing bit address is T4:0/tt. Actually, if once a timer starts, the address location, the address location for the timer timing bit, whatever timing you want to maintain using the timer, for that information we are using the TT bit, timer timing bit, this one, TT bit here, this one, timer timing bit, TT bit is used for maintaining the timer. And finally, once the timer operation is completed, once it is finished, then the done bit, which indicates that timer operation is completed. The timer has elapsed its time. For that, the bit that is used is T4:0/dn. Fine. Similarly, as we have timers, we have counters, right? To count in the upward direction. I have given various examples: up counter, down counter. Okay, clock is the up counter, whereas if you are using the counters for the timer for the down counting process for various gaming applications, then it is a down counter. For the counting from say 30 to 30 seconds, it counts down. Okay, you are playing a certain game, right? You are moving a ball from one location to another location, then how much balls you have moved in the 30 seconds, countdown, correct? That is the down counter, like that. Similar to the timer, we have counters, and the counter is similar to the timer. Okay, the counter element consists of 3 words as that of the timer. It is control word, preset word, and the accumulated word. As we have for timers 3 words: control word, preset word, and the accumulated word. Similarly, for the counters also we are having 3 words: control word, preset word, and the accumulated word. Control word is for controlling operation, preset word is for initializing the counter here, and accumulated word is whatever at the end of the operation, whatever the value is stored in the counter, that is called as the accumulated word. Or what all settings we want to make in order to perform the various operations, that can also be called as the accumulated word. Okay, the addressing of the counter control is the assigned counter number. Counter numbers are assigned like this: counters in file 5. If we are considering file number 5 and the counters in file 5, then they are numbered as C5:0. C5:0, it indicates the counter in file number 5. Counter in file number 5. C5:999. This is which counter? Yes, this is which counter? C5:999. Whether it is counter number 1000 or counter number 999. Yes, friends. Whether it is counter number, yes. Yes, please. 1000. You are right. Because it is starting from 0. If it starts from 1 through 999, then we can call this as 999th counter. But as we are starting the first counter from 0, counter number 0, counter number 1, counter number 2, like that, up till counter number 999. Then this 999 is nothing but it is a 1000th counter. Okay, not 999th counter. Then similarly, as for the timers, we have the various addresses for the counters also. Control word address is T4:0. Okay, so this T4:0 is for the 5th counter. It is for the 5th file number 5 here. Excuse me, file number 5. So for the file number 5, T4:0. Okay, this is indicating counter in file number 5. The control word for the counter in file number 5. Excuse me. Then preset word T4:0.pre. This is the starting value or the initialization value that we are storing. For that word, the address is t4:0.pre. This .pre is itself the indication that it is the starting word or the word that is stored for initialization purpose. Accumulated word t4:0.acc. Okay, so it is a accumulated word, or the accumulator we usually call. Okay, when we use in other languages, we use the word accumulator. It is similar to that accumulated word. Okay, where we have the values for different settings, okay, which are stored in the bit format, or it may be considered also as the word that is stored after the timer elapses, or the timer has elapsed its timing. Once the timer time has elapsed, what is the final value that is stored, that may be considered as the accumulated word. Okay. I hope you all are following, your students. Any doubts up till here? Any questions up till here, students? Any doubts? Students? Any doubts up till here? Baswaraj? Inoch, any doubts? Inoch?
No, sir.
Okay. Haldankar Pratik, Jitendra, any doubts? Haldankar
No, sir.
Pratik, Jitendra, any doubts? Okay. Nemani Patil? Nemani Patil? Any questions, Nemani Patil? Sorry. Praveen Helvi, any doubts? Praveen?
No, sir.
Praveen Helvi? Okay, fine. Mahesh Kulkarni? Mahesh? Any doubts? Mahesh? Okay. Manohar Hampannawar? Manohar? Manohar? Okay, right. Then we'll proceed. Connection of an open and closed switch to the input image table file through the input module. Can anybody tell me what this figure indicates? Connection of open and closed switch to the input image table file through the input module. What this figure indicates, what it is explaining about, what it explains about this figure. Look into the figure and try to identify what it is trying to convey. Yes, please. What information it is trying to convey here? Students? Like this figure we have seen earlier also, is it not? Input image table. There was slightly, the figure was different, but the concept remains the same. Yes or no? So that is here, this is a line voltage that we are applying. These are the switches which are contained in the input side. Off switch, this is close switch, so open switch or the close switch, second one. Okay, first one is in open position, off. Second one is in closed position, that is on state. Okay. So this off state is indicated by storing a 0 in the input image table. In the input image table, 0 is stored, which is the status of the switch that is in open state. Then in the same input image table, 1 is stored, which is the status of the switch that is in closed position. Switch is closed. It is in closed position. Its closed position or the on position is indicated by storing a 1 in the input image table file. Clear here? This is our input image table file, which is a word file. Word file means it is 16-bit in length. If you count the number of bits here, it can store 16 bits. It is a word. Okay. If it is storing 1 byte, if it is 1 byte, then it is 8 bits. Correct?
Sir.
Yes,
Is it
please.
input module terminal strip, sir? So that one will
One
be
minute, I'm
connected.
not able to listen to you. Just be loud, please.
Sir, is it input module terminal strip, sir?
Input module terminal state of, yes, 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 yes. Terminal means what? It is the end point of your input. Okay, what
Okay, sir.
information you are collecting, right? What information I want to convey you all here is terminal means what? It is always the end. At the end, what we are connecting? Maybe on the input side, we are connecting some field device. That is our end device. At the output side, we are connecting some field device. Okay, output devices. Those are our terminal devices. So
Okay, sir.
terminal devices means it is nothing but your end devices, which you are connecting at the end of your setup. It may be on the input side or it may be on the output side. Of course, it is a terminal device status. Correct. You are right. Hmm?
Okay, sir.
I hope I reached you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the switch that is closed, processor detects the voltage. The processor detects the voltage here. If it is open state, then the voltage is 0. If it is closed state, then the voltage may be 5 volts. Okay, like that. So that is a convention. On means we usually take it as 5 volts. Off means we usually take it as 0 volts. When it is in on position, it senses the voltage, it detects the voltage of 5 volts, and based on that, it activates or it stores or it enables and stores the information as 1 in the input image table file. If it is 0, then it senses the voltage as 0 volts, and based on that, it stores the information or the status as 0 in the input image table file or the input image data table file. For the switch that is open, the processor detects no voltage and input terminal at the input terminal and records the information by storing a binary 0 in its bit location. Each connected input, if you are connecting certain inputs here, for every input there is a particular bit status. Okay, suppose say if you are connected 16 input devices here, how many terminals are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 terminals in our input module. Okay, that means you can connect at a stretch 8 input devices. 8 input devices. Okay, or 8 input sensors or the switches. Fine. So if you are connecting 8 input devices here, for every input device there is a bit meant for storing the status information. For the first input device there is a particular bit. For the second input device there is a second bit, third bit, like that. For every input device or for every input terminal device there is a bit in the input image table file which indicates the status of the terminal device. Each connected input has a bit in the image table file that corresponds exactly to the terminal to which the input is connected. The input image table file is changed to reflect the current status of the switch during the IO scan phase of operation. This is important. During the IO scan phase, next we are taking up next IO scan process. Okay, that is IO scan phase. When the input output scanning is taking place during the scan cycle, this input image table file or the output image table file that we are studying next, they are meant for indicating the status. What is the input status, whether it is on or off, that will be indicated. If the input is on, switch is closed, its corresponding bit in the table is 1. Yes. If the input is off, switch is open, corresponding bit is cleared or reset, or it is set to 0. The processor continuously updates the status of the input devices and the output devices. If the input device is high, if it is set, if the switch is closed, okay, then the location or the memory location meant for that status is set to 1. It is storing 1 in that particular bit in the input image table file. Okay, suppose say again after say 2 seconds or say 3 seconds, if there is again updating, again that input status has changed of the same switch. I'm talking about the same switch. This for the same switch, if the switch is now open position, previously it was closed, before 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, the switch has become open. Then again that status will be updated immediately, and it will be storing 0 in that particular bit where it was storing 1 previously. It was storing 1 previously. Now as the status of the switch has changed, it will update that and it will store a 0 in that particular bit position. Okay, or it may be vice versa. First it was open, it would be storing 0. Then later, after 2 seconds of the switch is closed, then it will be storing 1 in that particular bit in the image table file. The output image table file is that part of the memory allocated to the storing the actual on-off status of the output devices. Correct, no? So output image table file is meant for storing the status of the output devices. Input image table file for storing the status of the input devices. Output image table file for storing the on-off status of the output devices. This is the connection diagram which shows the updating of the output image table file. This is our output image table file. Here, this is off position of the pilot light or the indicator light. It is in off position. This is indicated by a 0 in the output image table file. Its status is 0. Then here the indicator light or the pilot light is on. This is being stored as 1 in the output image data table file. Okay, like this we'll be able to make up and we'll be able to connect one to one between the input image table, output image table file bit statuses and the output terminal devices. What I mean to say here is, for every output terminal devices, there is a particular bit in the output image table file. Again here, if there are 8 output devices being connected, for every output device there is a particular bit location in the output image table file for storing the status of that concerned or of that related or of that corresponding output terminal device. Clear here? Connection of pilot lights to the output image table file is shown. Its operation is summarized as follows. Simple. Status of each light on or off is controlled by the user program. Yes or no? The user program controls the on and off of these indicator lights or the pilot lights or the LEDs. Okay. If it is in on status, it is because of the program that we are running, the ladder program. In that program, we have written the logic in such a way that we want to turn on this indicator or we want to turn on this pilot light. Then we have written a logic in such a way that we have turned off this upper pilot light. Okay, it is based on the logic that is written in the program. We'll be able to control the output devices. Okay, the program receives the input information from the input image table file. It processes that according to the logic that we have written, and accordingly it controls the output devices based on the output that is obtained. Right. The status of each light on off is controlled by user program. Each connected output has a bit in the output image table file that corresponds to the terminal to which the output is connected. The program calls for a specific output to be on, its corresponding bit in the table is set to 1. Correct. If the program calls for the output to be off, that is, if the program wants output to be off, then its corresponding bit in the output image table is set to 0. That means the processor continuously activates or deactivates the output status depending upon the logical execution of the program. Based on how the program is executing, based on how the logic is written in the program, depending on that, the program updates the status of the output devices, and also their status is reflected in the output image table file, being stored as the status of the output terminal devices. Next, we will move on to a topic called as program scan. In this topic, any doubts, friends? Processor memory organization. Examination, if a question is asked on the processor memory organization, you will have to write from starting from the, that is your processor memory organization, that is about data files, program files. Okay, you will have to draw this figure and you have to mention various program files, data files. Okay, these files, what are the different input and output files for the program files and the data files. Okay, then this IO address format, you have to draw this and explain the IO address format. Then write the points about PLC5 and SLC500 addressing formats, addressing format for PLC5 and addressing format for the SLC500. Okay, these are the various formats, is it not? You have to mention them in points. Then this connection diagram, the input image table file, connection diagram similarly for the output image table file. So you'll have to cover all these points. Okay. Question may be straightforward. Explain the processor memory organization of the PLCs. Okay, that may be the question that may appear in examination on the processor memory organization. Next, we'll take up a new topic, which is program scan. We already know by now what is a scanning process. Okay, scan means here is a program called as program scan. We are inputting the data. That data is absorbed. It is taken in by the program. Okay, it is taken in by the program. It is inputted to the program. Whatever we have written, user program, the ladder rung program. Okay, then that program processes the information. It performs certain operation, and then provides the output or controls the output devices. This one complete process is called as the program scan. This one complete process is called as the program scan. Okay, let us see in detail about the program scanning process. During each operating cycle, the processor reads all the inputs, takes these values and energizes or de-energizes the outputs according to the user program. Based on the user program, the output devices are either activated or they are deactivated. Either they are turned on or they are turned off. This complete process is called as program scan cycle. This one complete process is what is called as the program scan cycle. Next figure indicates the PLC operating cycle consists of input scan, program scan, output scan, and the housekeeping duties. Housekeeping duties are the duties, say if you want to refresh the memory, okay, you want to initialize the memory, right? Like how we have the housekeeping duties in our houses, correct? We broom our floors, right? Every now and then we wash our floors, right? For maintenance operation, correct? Similarly, for maintaining the various operations of the PLCs also, they have their own housekeeping duties, either to initialize the memory or to refresh the memory, right? All those operations, thus such operations are called as housekeeping operations. The PLC updates the inputs and outputs as long it is in the run mode. When PLC is in the run mode, when it is under, say, running process, when it is under running process, when it is performing its say controlling process, that time if there is any changes in the inputs and outputs, that will be reflected and they will be considered for the program scan cycle. They will be considered in the program scan operation. Look into this figure. Here it shows the start of the operation. Input scan. What is meant by input scan? Same thing. Status of external inputs is written to the input image table. Status of the input devices is written in the input image table file. Then next, that is here they have shown a switch, that is an input device. Then program scan. Program scan is the next step. It is the execution of the ladder rung instructions. Ladder rung is scanned and solved using the data in the input file. Using the data in the input file, the ladder rung instructions are executed. resulting logic is written to the output image table file. Whatever is the output of the program scan, right? Whatever is the output of the ladder rung instruction execution, that output is written in the output image table file. This is our output image, output devices that are being controlled from the output of the ladder rung instruction execution. Then that is output scan. That is what it is. The output device being controlled. This is the ladder rung, which is showing the status of the bit that is stored in the output image table file. Okay, and further using this ladder rung instructions, that is a program. Okay, this is the ladder rung instruction or the ladder program. Using this, we are controlling the on and off of the output device. That is our output scanning process. The output image data is transferred to the external output circuits, turning the output device on or off. Then finally, we also have the housekeeping duties, such as the internal checks on the memory speed. That is, it performs certain checking operations, checking the speed. Okay, when you turn on the computer, what will happen? Suppose we say the computer is in off state. You switched on the computer. It performs all the housekeeping operations first. It initializes certain memory locations. It checks whether the values are stored in the memory locations or not. Okay, it goes through a certain process when you turn on a computer. That is, it performs the check on the memory, performs the certain speed checkings. Okay, or it may be providing the service on communication request. Certain communication requests, if you are communicating, if it is being communicated to the PLCs to perform certain services, then those services also provided. These all come under the housekeeping duties. So this diagram is important. Okay, whenever you are asked to write about the program scan, this diagram is important. You will have to draw this and then write the various points on the program scan. The time taken to complete a scan cycle is called scan cycle time. It takes about 1 to 20 milliseconds to complete one scan cycle. To complete one scanning operation, it takes 1 to 20 milliseconds. If the controller has to react to an input signal, this is important. Suppose say there is change in the input. There is change in the input. First, for the first input status, the scan is being under process. The scan cycle. It processes the ladder rung instructions. It executes the ladder rung instructions and provides the output. Right. If in between this program scan cycle, if there is change in the input, whether it will be reflected or not, it will not be reflected. It will be reflected only after the completion of the first program scan cycle. The program scan cycle, once it completes its cycle time, only after that, whatever input has been updated, that input will be reflected. Until the completion of the previous scan cycle, it will not take the values of the next scan cycle. This point is important. That is, if it takes 8 milliseconds for the CPU to scan a program and an input contact is opening and closing every 4 milliseconds. Suppose say you have seen a Xerox machine. Okay, in the Xerox machine, what we will be doing or what the person does, they are inputting the pages to scan and get the Xerox. Okay, suppose first page is being put into the Xerox machine. It is scanning. Immediately, if you try to put the second page, immediately, say after 1 second or 2 seconds, what may happen? It will not take the second page scanning, okay, before the scanning of the first. That means what I want to tell you all is, it will take the scanning of the second only after the scanning of the first has been completed and the page has come out. The Xerox page has come out. Only after that, it will take the scanning of the second page. That means only after the time has elapsed. Only after the time has elapsed, it will take the scanning of the next or the updated values. The same holds good for the PLCs also. The same is holding good for the PLCs. Right? If the switch contact is opening and closing every 4 milliseconds, then that will not be reflected. That cycle time, the program scan cycle time is 8 milliseconds. Okay, for the entire scanning process, it is taking 8 milliseconds. The switch input switch is turning on and off every 4 milliseconds. Say for the first 4 milliseconds, it may take. Okay, second 4 milliseconds it may take, but for the third fourth millisecond, that is 12th millisecond, 4 into 3, it will not accept, because the time for the program scan cycle is just 8 milliseconds, and the time that is switching of the input is after 8 milliseconds, right? That means it will not accept this because the time has already elapsed. The time for the program scan cycle is already elapsed. It will not accept the contact opening or closing after 8 milliseconds. The CPU will detect a change if it occurs during the update of the input image table file, but not always. The scan time is a function of the following. Which are the factors on which the scan cycle depends upon? The scan cycle depends upon the processor, what type of processor it is, right? The processor is having high speed, then the scanning process is also faster. It depends on the size of the program. What is the size of the program? If the program size is large, then it takes more time to scan. If the program size is less, it takes less time to scan. Sorry, if program size is large, it takes more time to scan. Program size is less, it takes less time to scan. Correct. Then next, it depends on the instructions that are written in the program. If they are lengthy instructions, okay, larger instructions, say if else loops, if you are using if else conditions, if else loops, true or false statements, then it takes more time to execute the instructions, and hence the scan time also increases. Program scan cycle also increases. Note that, students, here program scan doesn't mean that it is only the scanning of the program or execution of the program. Please keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that it is only the execution of the program. It does not mean that. What is program scanning process? It is accepting the input status. Second step, execution of the ladder rung instructions or execution of the program. Then comes the third step, that is updating the output status or controlling the output status from the output obtained from the program execution or the ladder rung execution. Okay. Scan is normally a continuous and sequential process. Yes, scanning is a sequential process. That's what I gave the example of a Xerox machine. Pages can be inputted one after another in sequence, but it is not in parallel. All the pages we cannot input at a time. Okay, the scanning. Okay, the scanning of the input page, that is sequential. Okay, similarly for the PLCs also. Next figure shows the data flow during the scan process. How the data is flowing, that is shown in the next figure. Here it is. This is our input module on the front end. Okay, this is providing the input data, and this input data, status of these input modules is being stored in the input image table file. What the program will do, this is our ladder rung program. This is our ladder rung, one rung. This is called as one rung. Okay, this one complete from this end to this end. Okay, it is called as rung, one rung. Okay, this is our program, ladder rung instruction. These are called as instructions. The switch for the contacts, okay, positions, they are called as one instructions. This output device, okay, action being taken. So these are all the instructions. Correct. Then once this program executes, it may be checking the input, or it may be comparison, or it may examining certain conditions. Based on that, it provides the output. That is, some action is taken. Once the action is taken, the status of this output device is returned. That is, it is stored in the output image table file. Is stored in the output image table file. Then from the output image table file, depending on the status of that, the PLC is monitoring, or it is controlling the output devices, output data, or the output modules. Okay, this is how the process is from the input modules, input data to input image table file. then program execution, taking some action or providing the output, storing that output in the output image table file, then output the data and control the output modules. It is from left to right. So from here it comes here, the arrow mark is indicated, then from here, okay, this is how it is flowing, the flow diagram, output image table file and then to the output modules. Examines the status of the input image table bits, solve the ladder logic in order to determine logical continuity. There is logical continuity, that's what I told, it's a flow diagram. If the flow has to be continuous, then it requires some continuation, that is connectivity from the previous to the next. If there is no connectivity from the previous to the next, then there is no logical continuity. Am I right? Update the appropriate output image table bits if necessary. Copy the output image table status to all the output terminals, same thing. Power supply is applied to the output device if output image table bit has been previously set to 1. Copy the status of all input terminals to the input image table if input is active, that is there is electrical continuity, the corresponding bit in the input image table will be 1. It will be stored as status 1 in the input image table file. The next process which illustrates the scanning process applied to a simple rung program. This is what you are seeing on the screen. Here the switch is I:3/6. The switch is I:3/6. This is the switch input device. It is in closed position, correct? We are applying some power supply, energizing the switch and the input module. The status of this input device is being sensed by the input module and it will store that in the input image table file I:3/6. In this particular position I:3/6, what is indicating? Rack number 3, bit number 6. I:3/6 means input device. For the input device, where it is stored? In rack number 3 and bit number 6. That is I:3/6. Then the ladder program executes. Ladder program executes. Action is taken from the output of the ladder program execution. That is stored in the output image table file. Where it is stored? In the processor memory, in the output image table file, that is rack number 4, bit number 7. Rack number 4, bit number 7. This is the position or the location where the output status is stored. From there it is giving to the output module. Then the output terminal or the output module is controlling the output device, on and off of the indicators or the output pilot lights. Okay. This output device and the output module are energized using a power supply. They are field devices, so they are energized using the power supply. Right. I hope you all are following here, students. Yes, please. Any questions up till now? Students? Any doubts up till now? Any questions up till now, students?
No, sir.
Okay, good. The same thing it is if it is I:3/6 is closed, it is 1, and there is logical continuity. Electrical continuity. During the program scan, the processor examines bit I:3/6 for on position. Then if the rung is true, that is if it executes, there is logical connectivity. If the input status is being sensed, the processor sets the output image table. Processor turns on the status, okay, during the next IO scan, and the output device is energized. Okay. This process is repeated. This process is repeated as long the processor is in the run mode. If input device opens, suppose say if there is input device, this is the input device here, this figure. If this input device opens, and whether that input status is sensed, whether there will be logical continuity, yes or no. If the input is closed, input device is closed, okay, there will be logical continuity. If it is off state, that is, it is zero voltage, that means there is no electrical continuity or there is no electrical connectivity. Zero means it is off state, so there is no question of turning off the output device, correct? It is zero state, of course, but there is no question of turning off on or turning on of the output device. Okay, if you are moving from on to off state, then this bit will be made zero, then there will be turning off of the output device. But initially itself is the, if the switch is in off state, then there is no question of turning off of the output device. That is the meaning of that. Ladder program process inputs at the beginning of a scan and outputs at the end of a scan as shown in the next figure. For each rung executed, the processor will follow these steps. This is the scan process applied to a multiple rung program. As I told, this is called as one rung. From here to here is one rung. This is the second rung. Okay, then we have third rung, fourth, fifth, like this. So this from starting to end, whatever we are having in a single line, that is called as one rung, from rail to rail. It's called as rail to rail, rail voltages. Okay, we are applying certain voltages at this end and also at this end. They are called as rail to rail voltages. Rail to rail voltages. This is a input image table. Input image table. Based on the status of this is inputted to the ladder rung instructions. They will execute, solve the ladder program, and then update the bit status in the output image table file. That is transferred to the output module. From there, this output status, the status of the output devices, whichever is stored in the output image table file, that is transferred to the output modules. Okay, so this is, you are inputting from here, from the input module strip, then stored the status, the ladder program executes, outputs the status, stores them in the output image table, then that is transferred to the output module to control the output field devices. What are the steps here then? Update the input image table by sensing the voltage of the input terminals. Based on the absence or presence of a voltage, a 0 or 1 is stored. Either a 0 is stored or a 1 is stored based on the presence or absence of the voltage. Solve the ladder logic, that is, it executes the ladder logic instructions based on the logical continuity. If the condition controlling an output are met, the processor immediately writes a 1 in the memory location, indicating that the output should be in on state. Last step of the scanning process is to update the actual states, that is, it updates the output field devices. The status of any input device changes. That is the main point I highlighted. The status of any input devices change when the processor is in step 2 or 3. The output condition will not react to them until the next processor scan. If there's any change in the input status, that will be reflected only after the completion of the existing program scan. Up till its completion, it cannot accept the update in the input values or changes in the input values. There are two basic scan patterns. There are two scan patterns here, as you all can see. Next figure. So one is for the Allen Bradley PLCs, another one for the Modicon PLCs. Allen Bradley follows horizontal scan. This is the horizontal scanning process. There are two types of scanning here, students. One is called as horizontal scan, another one is called as vertical scan. Horizontal scanning means it scans from left to right. It scans from left. This is our main program. The first instruction. Okay, the leftmost, the first instruction. It scans this, then it scans the next, the output device. Okay, then it comes to the second rung. It scans this instruction, and then this, and comes to the third rung like this, then this, and end of the ladder instructions. Okay, this is horizontal scanning. In the vertical scanning, how it is scanning? Vertically. Okay, that is, it first scans this. So look here, please pay attention. It scans this, then next rung first instruction, third rung first instruction, fourth rung first instruction. Then it comes back, it returns to the next scanning. So in this here, there is no instruction. Okay, first rung, second instruction not present. Then comes to second rung, second instruction is there, it scans this. Then here there is no second instruction, so it leaves, again returns back. Then comes here, third instruction, output, it scans this. Then third instruction of the second rung scans this. Then third instruction of the third rung, it scans this. Then it stops. This is how the scanning takes place in horizontal scan and the vertical scans. Okay, in horizontal scan, it is followed by Allen Bradley PLCs, and vertical scanning is implemented or used by the Modicon PLCs. Okay. Next is PLC programming languages. Any difficulty in this, students? Program scan. Here, any difficulties? Any questions here in this program scan? Yes, please. Anything you all want to discuss here regarding the program scan cycle? Was it clear to you all, everyone? Program scan cycle? Yes. Any difficulties? Any problem in understanding? Students? Any problem in understanding here in the program scan cycle? Mahesh? Mahesh, any problem in understanding? Kulkarni? Mahesh Kulkarni? Praveen Helavi? Any problem in understanding? Praveen? Praveen, are you here? Praveen? Students, are you here? Students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mudabbira, any difficulty, any problem in understanding?
No, sir.
In this program scan topic, you all understood all the points? Mudabbira?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Manohar? Manohar?
That's all clear.
Clear. Fine. Okay. Ravi? Ravi Hiremat? Ravi is there?
Yes, sir.
Ravi, any problem in understanding?
No, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, fine. Right then. Next is the various languages that are used for programming, writing programs for the PLCs. This I have discussed in the very first class. Okay, the introduction class itself, the various languages that are used for writing the programs for the PLCs. There are 5 standard languages used for the PLCs. First one is called as the ladder diagram. Okay, that whatever we are studying, ladder diagram, it is in the form of a rung. Okay, the one from one point to another point, from start to end, that is one line, it is called as the rung, one rung. Okay, it is similar to a relay ladder logic diagram. We know that relay ladder logic diagram were replaced by these ladder diagrams. The next is the functional block diagram. It is the graphical representation using the blocks. Okay, using the blocks, we are representing the instructions. Such diagrams are called, or such languages are called, functional block diagram. Then third is sequential function chart, SFC. In short, it is called SFC, sequential function chart. This is as good as our flow chart. Whatever flow chart you have studied in your C language. Okay, it is same as that, similar to the flow chart. Any flow chart if you take is similar to that flow chart. Instruction list, fourth one. It is using the instructions, but the instructions are low level instructions. Low level instructions are the instructions such as mnemonics. Okay, for addition we use the instruction ADD. For multiplication we are using the instruction MUL. For division we are using the instruction DIV. These are called as mnemonic instructions. Instructions are the mnemonics. When we use such instructions or the mnemonics, then such language is called as the instruction list. Then the last one, fifth one, is the structured text. Structured text, it is a high level language, just like as good as our C language or C++ or Java, okay, or Pascal or Basic. Okay, so as good as these languages, we write in the form of statements, instructions, high level instructions. Okay, that is our fifth type of PLC programming language, that is called as the structured text language. Fine. Ladder diagram, it is the most commonly used PLC language, which is similar to a relay ladder diagram. The functional block diagram, it uses instructions in the form of blocks. That's what I told. The various types of functional blocks in the functional block diagram languages are logic diagram, logic block, timer block, and the counter blocks. These are some of the blocks that are used in the functional block diagram language of the PLCs. This for the timers, for the counters, and for the various logics. As you all can see in this figure, it is a comparison of ladder diagram and the instruction list programming. This is our relay control logic. Relays are used here, okay, or here we are using a solenoid, a valve, okay, which is based on the magnetic action. It is turning on and off. This is called as a solenoid valve. Okay, here there is a push button, here there is a switch, one more switch, on off switch. Then this is our contacts, okay, relay coil or the contacts. Okay, this is our second one, right? This is the relay control circuit. The same relay control circuit is represented in the form of the ladder diagram like this, right? This is our how we are representing the contacts in the form of the ladder rung. Okay, the relay contacts on and off, right? Then the solenoid, here we are representing in the form of circle. Here we are representing in the form of the brackets, opening and closing brackets, the solenoid valve. Is it not? Like this we are representing these statuses, okay, of the switches and the output devices in the ladder diagram. Okay, this is our old type of logic, that is relay control logic. This is our ladder diagram, what we are using in day-to-day life. Okay, ladder diagram, the most commonly used language. And the third one we are seeing is the instruction list programming. We are using the instructions. Okay, that is start. This is start for the push button. Start push button 1. Then the switch will be closed. Start push button 1. And with CR1. This is AND function. When it is in series, we consider it as a AND function. When it is in parallel, we consider it as a OR function. Okay. So when this switch is closed and when this contact is closed, right, or when this switch is closed, right, and when this contact is open, because it is opposite. Here on means 1, off means 0 for the CR1 contact. For the CR2 contact, on means it is 0 and off means it is 1. It is the opposite logic. Okay, both are same type of switches only, but the logic wise they are opposite. Here CR1 is on means 1, off means 0. Here on means it is 0 volts represents on state and 5 volts represent off state. Logic wise they are just opposite. Then this is the solenoid valve. That is, if this push button is closed and this contact is closed, and if this contact is open, then the solenoid valve turns on. Or when this switch is closed and when this switch is open, then the solenoid valve turns on. This is how we have to explain the ladder rung diagram or the relay logic here. Same is for the ladder diagram. And these are the instructions, which is called as instruction list programming. And CR1, that is start PB1, start the push button, operate it, switch is closed, and with CR1, it is ANDed with the this contact. Okay, that is when this and this are in on state, or LS1. LS1 means or when this switch is closed, then AND with CR2, not of CR2. That is why I am using the function here, not of CR2. Not of CR2 means it is not, this is not position. Okay, that is, it is opposite logic to this CR1. Hence I am using the keyword as not here. It is the opposite logic. If it is the same logic, it is simply used as and CR1. I am not using the word not here because it is a normal convention. If it is the opposite logic, then I have to use the keyword as not, and not with CR2, then output to the solenoid valve, out SOL. Fine. So this is the comparison of the ladder diagram with the relay diagram and the instruction list type of programming language. Then the next is PLC ladder and equivalent function block diagram. The first one is the ladder diagram. Second one is the function block diagram. As I told in the function block diagram, the instructions are represented in the form of the blocks. This is a block which indicates the same functionality as the above ladder diagram. That is sensor 1 tag. This is called as one tag, input 1. Sensor 2, it is an input, sensor 2 tag. Then we have the output tag, that is this pilot light. PL is for pilot light. Pilot light turning on and off, we are connecting this to the output tag here. Okay, this is called as one block. This block is equivalent to the above ladder diagram. This block is equivalent to the above ladder diagram. Clear here? Function blocks are linked together to complete a circuit. Right, data flow on a path, that is the data flows here from the inputs to the blocks and to the output. There is a continuity, logical continuity from input through the block and to the output. The function block solution consists of a logic boolean and AND function, boolean and function block with 2 input reference tags for the sensors and single output reference tag for the pilot light. Next, function block diagram equivalent to ladder logic. This is the ladder logic for AND function, A and B. Okay, this is represented in the form of a block diagram here. Okay, logical AND. Then we have the OR function. OR means this or this. That means either A is activated or B is activated, the output will be activated. That is OR block. Then this is A and with not of B, because the logic is opposite. So we are having A here, then we are having a not bubble. This is called as a bubble. The circle what is indicated here on the B input, a small bubble. Okay, that indicates the not function, not of this opposite logic. Then the output will be activated. Okay, so these are the various functional blocks indicating the same ladder logic functionalities. It is a series function, AND function, parallel function, OR function, and a series with the NOT that is represented by this block diagram. Next is sequential function chart programming. It is similar to our flowcharts. Flowcharts you all have written in your C language, is it not? It is same as that of the flowchart process, in which the flow of the process is indicated. Okay, and if there are multiple processes, there's multiple process or parallel process are also indicated by if-else statement flowcharts. That is shown in the next figure here. You can see in the sequential function chart programming type of language for PLCs, this is a starting step. There is a transition or change from step 1 to step 2. Okay, there's a wire being connected in between. Then in step 1, there is some action taken. You write a C flowchart, is it not? You write sum is equal to A plus B. Okay, here you perform, say A is equal to 1. And in step 2, say you perform B is equal to 2. Then there is a if-else statement. If A is greater than 1 or if B is greater than 1, then you perform step 3, sum is equal to A plus B. If it is less, then you go back and input the value again. This is just like your if else statement after the step 2. Correct? So if the condition is true, it will go to step 3. If it is false, it will go back and input the next value. Then step 2 to step 3, there is a transition, there is a change. At step 3 also it performs certain action. Step 3 to stop, there is a transition, there is a change, and then it will stop. Okay? This is just like your flowcharts that you are writing for various programming languages. Structured text is a high-level text language used to implement complex procedures that cannot be done with graphical languages. Suppose say if there is a nested if-else statement, you might have heard of nested if-else statements or nested statements. Okay, when you are writing the programming for C language in your first year level, nested if statements, that means one if-else statement within another if-else statement. Such statements are called nested if-else statements. So if such statements have to be implemented, then the block diagrams representation will not be helpful because it becomes complex. Drawing the blocks one within the another representation, it becomes tedious. In order to avoid that, what is done, the high level languages similar to our C language or Pascal or BASIC, such languages are used, wherein we can easily implement the nested statements, or we can write the any program, any instructions for the complex processes. That next figure shows the structured text program. This is our ladder rung diagram. Sensor 1 and sensor 2, they are activated. That will activate our solenoid valve 1. Or when sensor 3 and sensor 4 and not of sensor 5 are activated, then also it activates our solenoid valve. Okay, that is, it is written in the form of a program. This is our ladder diagram. The next is structured text program. If sensor 1 and sensor 2, if sensor 1 and sensor 2, they are closed or the contacts are closed, then it will activate solenoid valve 1, or solenoid valve 1 is equal to 1. Its indication is that it is high state. Else if condition, sensor 3 and sensor 4 and not sensor 5, there is a cross mark here, that is, it is not. It is having the opposite logic as that of sensor 3 and sensor 4. Hence I write it as not sensor 5. For sensor 3 and sensor 4, I do not use the word not. But for sensor 5, it is having the opposite logic. Hence I use the term here or the word not. Else if sensor 3 and sensor 4 and not sensor 5 are activated, then also the solenoid valve will be turned on. Okay. Then I end this using the statement end if statement is ended. Okay. This is how we use the structured type of programming languages for the PLCs. Okay. Any doubts in this last topic, students? Programming languages, any doubts here in this programming language? Yes, please. Any doubts here, students, in this last topic, PLC programming languages? Any questions? Yes. Yes, please. Any questions? Enoch D'Souza.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, Enoch?
No, sir.
Okay. Harsh Saval. Harsh.
Yes, sir.
Any problem in understanding, Harsh?
No, sir.
Follow today's topic, Harsh. What all topics we covered today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Harsh. Okay, good. Nathaniel Saldana.
Yes, sir.
Any point not clear, Nathaniel? Any point not understood or any difficulty in understanding?
No, sir. Understood.
Okay, fine. Nemani Patil. Nemani Patil. Praveen Helavi.
No, sir.
Praveen. Everything is clear, Praveen. Today's discussion.
Yes, sir.
Last
Clear, sir.
part, starting, initial, everything is clear. Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. Okay. Manohar Hampannur. Manohar,
Yes, sir.
you want to discuss anything, Manohar? Any questions?
No, sir. Not so far.
Okay. All concepts are clear here.
Sir, share this slides once in group.
Sure. I'll share. Definitely, I'll share.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Okay, students. Then in today's discussion, I'll just scroll down once. What all we have covered in today's class. We started with the processor memory organization. From here, okay, IO address format for the SLC family of PLCs. Okay, what is the format in which the input and output devices are stored? Then we have explained various points on processor memory organization for the Allen Bradley PLC 5 and for the SLC 500 PLCs, the various addressing formats. These are the various addressing formats that we are using. And then we had also discussed the addressing format for the timers and the counters. Connection diagram of open and close switch to the input image table file through the input module. Then later we covered connection of pilot light to the output image table file through the output module. Next topic was on the program scan. We understood what is a program scan, what is program scan cycle. Right? This is our program scan process. Then what is a program scan cycle? What is the time taken to scan? What are the features of program scan? What are the factors on which the scan time depends? That is, it depends on the speed of the processor, length of the program, type of instructions, and the if else conditions or the true or false conditions in the instructions. In the program scan process, this is how the program scan process takes place. Okay, from left to right. Again, the same program scan concept being explained with the help of the processor memory, input image table file, and the output image table file, also considering the input and output field devices. Then later, it was the multiple rung, many rungs program. It's a many rung ladder rung program. From here to here, we call as one rung, from this to this. So there are many rungs here. It is consisting of more number of ladder rung instructions. Then how the scan process is explained with the help of multiple ladder rung program that we have seen. Program scanning process, continuation of that. That was the figure where we explained there. Then what is meant by horizontal scanning? From left to right scanning. Top to bottom scanning is called as vertical scanning. Okay. Then various PLC programming languages such as ladder diagram, which is similar to a relay ladder diagram, functional block diagram, which is consisting of blocks, sequential function chart, which is consisting of flowcharts, instruction list, it consists of mnemonics, low level instructions such as ADD for add, MUL for multiplication, DIV for division, like that, and structured text language, which is a high level language instructions. Then we have used certain diagrams to explain the comparison between ladder diagram and instruction list programming. This is our low level language programming. AND is indicated by AND, OR is indicated by OR, like this. Instruction list programming. If you have compared with ladder diagram and the relay ladder diagram. And ladder diagram being represented in the form of a functional block diagram representation. comparison between functional block diagram and the ladder diagram language. These are the various functional blocks for the various logic. Series logic or AND logic, this is a function block. OR logic, this is the function block. Parallel logic, and series logic with the NOT function, we are using the bubble here at the input. This is our function block. Then the flowchart representation, that is a sequential function chart program where we are indicating the transition between each steps and the action being taken. There is if-else statement. That if-else statement is also implemented. Structured text program. Structured text program, it is in the form of high-level languages. We have indicated that using this statement, if sensor 1 and sensor 2 are true, then solenoid valve is turned on. Else if sensor 3 and sensor 4 and not sensor 5 are true, then the solenoid valve is also turned on. Okay, so these are the various topics that we have covered in the today's class. I hope everyone have understood, right? Anything else you want to discuss here, students? Yes, please. Inoch.
Yes, sir.
D'Souza. Anything else
Yes,
you want
sir.
to discuss, Inoch?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, students, then we'll continue in the next class. Thank you.